Today we are covering ListTrac. So it's one of the things that we have available to us through the Realty One group. I'm trying to share my screen. I'll get there eventually. So it's a cool tool that you can utilize to keep your sellers updated of what's going on with their property. Now, obviously, it's not going to share the feedback that you might receive. It's not going to share how many actual showings that they had, but it's a good way to just, either incorporate it into a weekly update for a seller or to utilize that and then springboard off of it, right? So here is ListTrac. When you go into your Realty One group, one login portal, it's one of the options you have available. If it doesn't show up on your frequents, just hit the search or view apps. It'll come up that way, and it's TRAC. So don't look for TRACK. It won't come up, but TRAC ListTrac. So once you click on it, it's going to open up a new screen for you. This is what the dashboard looks like. Here is it's just taking all the listings and compiling them into one place. So if you have multiple listings, this is going to combine them on this dashboard page. And you can toggle, this is like last 7 days, last 30 days. So if you were going to do like a weekly update or just wanted to touch base and see what was going on with your listings on a weekly basis, maybe every Monday morning, like today, you log in to check this. That would be a good habit to have. It just shows you, hey, on Zillow, you had 571 views on your listings, realtor.com, you had 121, Trulia, 35, the MLS, 24, BARIES MLS, 15, broker and agent sites. Those would be like, your own individual site, homes.com, and then the Connect app. Like how many views did you have on the actual Realty One group app? Okay, it tells you what views are in case you want to see that. So you've got those details. Over here, you've got inquiries off the MLS. Okay, she had one inquiry off the MLS. This isn't mine. This is, I'm logged into Shannon's. Down here, you have visitors. So how many people visited, right? And if you want to know what visitors are, that shows how your listing views trend over time, right? It's especially helpful if you impact the number of you. Let's see here. The price changes, you can see that with the red line. There should be a red line if there was price changes, and then that shows you how the views increased or decreased based on that change. So there you go. And if you highlight over each one of them, it shows you kind of where the views are at. Okay. So Tuesday. All right, and we can go down and we can limit that to like the last 7 days for a clearer picture of what that looks like. Okay, so yeah, okay, fabulous. All right, down here, you've got your performance. Again, let's toggle this to the last 7 days. This is going to break down your listings individually. Browns Valley Road, that listing had 612 versus Jamboree only had 165, right? So now we've broken down the total views by listing. We're going to keep going down here. How many people saved your listing? We'll go last 7 days. No data to nobody saved it in the last 7 days. And then over here we have how many people have shared your listing. So if we go last 7 days, it just totally took it away from us. It'll come back eventually, hopefully. And then over here, this is where are people clicking, like what's your markets? So if we go last 7 days, you've got some up there in Hawaii, but we can like, let's see. That didn't work. Hold on. We're going to click this here, which should bump it to a big map. And from there, so you can play around with this a little bit, but it kind of shows you where those clicks are coming from for the best that they can locate it. This might tell you where you need to be pinpointing your marketing. Okay, so keep that in mind as well. Okay, uh, close that back down. Okay, so that's your dashboard for ListTrac. Lots of good information in there, things that you can utilize. And then if we scroll down that dashboard on the left-hand side, we can go to listings. Here's where we have our actual listings. Okay, you can view analytics. It'll tell you if the seller report has been sent out, seller report options, and then seller report preview. So let's click on the view analytics. We're going to see this one for Jamboree. So this is going to break down basically what we saw, but just for this specific listing. Okay, it tells us how many views. These are in the last 30 days, inquiries, favorites, and shares. I'm going to leave it 30 days just for now. And then you can also toggle. Here's the visitors for this one. Here's where they're searching at it from. Okay, so you can pinpoint for that specific listing. And then here's some similar homes. Okay, how are the views? This one's lower than Berry Creek, so you may want to look at that one and see why that one's getting more views. It could be that it just came on the market where this one's been on the market for a while, but just kind of keep that in mind. Inquiries, people favoriting, people sharing that listing, shares for this one versus similar listings. Okay. So the other thing that you can do too is over here on the listing stats, we can toggle. We're on Jamboree right now on the toolbar on the left-hand side. We can toggle over to Browns Valley as well. If it's listed in the MLS under, and it has more than one listing ID, you don't come across that very much in the Solano County area. Most just have one listing ID, but maybe it's like up here, that would be like we would have vacant lots listed, and then it might have like a dry cabin on it, which means it doesn't have like power or well or anything, but we still list it in vacant lots, and then we also list it in residential as a duplicate because it does have a house on it, but technically it's vacant land. So we do both. So that's where you may want to input a second ID. Back in the day, we used to like list things in before it was disseminated out on Berries Plus to all the surrounding MLSs. It might be listed in like, if it was in Winners, we might list it in Berries and then also in Metro. If you're old enough to remember those days, the good old days. So you would input both listing IDs. So that's where you would do something like that. Okay, so that's there on that top toolbar. Similar homes, you can manage, refine that criteria of what a similar home is. Okay, so that it's pulling directly those similar homes based on your criteria. Okay, and then so this was, we toggled over to Browns Valley. Okay, now the other thing that you can do from here is the same thing that we could do from our listing stats dashboard, which is we can schedule a report or preview the report or view the report options. This is the cool thing, right? So our lesson today was about automating seller reports using ListTrac. I would personally set this up to go out like once a week. Okay, so let's go just for kicks. Let's go manage similar homes for this Browns Valley. Auto selection, manual selection, a combination, do not include, right? So if we go auto selection, here's same property type, same zip code, number of bedrooms, plus or minus one. So if this was a 4-bedroom, it would pull 3 and 5. If it was a 2-bathroom, it would pull, 1 and 3. Square footage up to 30%. Distance, I'm going to change this a little bit here. I'm going to go up to 10 miles because this Browns Valley property is a country property. So we're going to go, hey, we want anything within maybe not 10 miles, maybe like 5 miles. Square footage. I wish it would allow us to edit the lot here, but that's all right. And then we're going to hit submit. All right. So now when we come down and scroll down here, it still only has one other Altamira, which probably isn't a good mix, but that's all right. We're going to leave that alone. For your in-town properties, it's going to be a little bit more exact. We could, on this one too, we could go manage our similar homes, manual selection of listings. We could combine auto and manual. So if we had some listing IDs for other properties, maybe the ones that we had pulled as comps, we could pull these in here automatically. So that's going to take an extra step of like going to the MLS, running some comps on it, and then throwing those IDs in there. And you may want to update that once a week. You may want to update it once a month, right? It's still going to pull any listings that it pulls from the automatic search, but it's also going to pull in these listing IDs. The other option is manual selection, where we're just going to put in those listing IDs. So for a unique property, this is probably your best option. Whereas if we are, in town, pretty cookie cutter home, you could probably use the auto selection. All right. So there's those. That's that button there on the green toolbar. Let's go over here to the right-hand side where it says report options. Here's where this is the agent profile for Shannon Riddle. We could put her title here, RELTOR. If you're on a Mac, it's Option R to get the little copyright symbol. I don't know what it is on a Windows computer. I apologize. You can make sure your office and all of that is here, as well as you could put your website on here as well. And then you'd save that. All right. Oops. That was agent profile. Brand information. Here's where you could upload any of your logos or anything that you wanted to show up on there. It's got the office logo on here. It should automatically pull that for you. And then exclude competing broker sites. So if there's anything you wanted to exclude from this report, here's where you can do that. I don't know why you would exclude a site specifically, but you could. Okay. So there's your report options. If we want to preview the report, that's the gray button on the right or left-hand side. Just click that preview button. It's going to open it up. This is what that online analytics report looks like. So it's a great report. Look at status, stats for the period. This goes November 3rd to December 15th. We've got property views, shares, favorites. 27% of visitors viewing your listing are returning visitors. That's a good stat to have, right? How many people are looking at this 2 or 3 times? Top 10 websites for views. Not only is it showing you, hey, this is where the views are, but this is where we're getting your property for the views. Top 10 cities. These are where the views are coming from. Okay, again, this is going to be good information for you if you're promoting that listing, if you're posting it on social media and specific groups and stuff. You know what groups to post it in. Now, we can click on this is what that email is going to look like. If we want to view more stats for your listing, your sellers would just click on that. Here's where it's going to take them for those more stats. Okay, they're going to get to see that site as well. This isn't the full life of the listing, is where that report's pulling it from. Similar homes, right? So they get that more detailed report there. You can also do it as a PDF. So we download that PDF. So if you didn't want it sending out directly, this is something you wanted to go there and tweak on a weekly basis and then send it out, this would allow you to do that. It's just that top page, though. It's not the more detailed report. Okay. But that's also a good option, especially on a property like this, where you may want to go in there and look at those similar properties each and every week. You could also copy the link. You could text this to them versus emailing it to them. Okay, and I think the options are just going to take us right back to where we were at. Okay, for the options. Okay, so there's that. The other thing that we can do is we can schedule this report. So here is send the report on behalf of, right? You put in your seller's first name here, seller's last name, your seller's emails. If you got more than one seller or more than one email, you can separate it by commas. You can also CC or BCC people. So you may want to BCC yourself every time this report goes out so you get a copy of it. seller activity, sales activity on your property this week. I'd probably rename it to something like online activity for your property, or this week's update for online activity or something like that. That way it pinpoints that this is online activity only. Here's a summary of your online activity. You can change this body, this default, and then you can also set it up. Do you always want it to send the life of the listing, prior 30 days, or prior 7 days? Include lead metrics only when your listing has one or more leads, right? So otherwise it won't show that if there's no leads. And delivery option, right now it's off. You can send it weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. Okay, and then we're gonna or send the report on. So like you could send it today and then set it up to send weekly from here on out. Okay, we would just toggle that over to weekly. Let's set it up to send out today at, we're going to say 9 a.m. Okay, Pacific Standard Time. And then I think I toggled it for the 7 days. So we could do that, hit save. It's going to send that report out today at 9 o'clock, and then it'll send it out each week thereafter automatically. So this is a great tool that we have in our bag of tech and tools that we could send this report out every single Monday. Let our sellers know that, hey, on Monday, you're going to get a report from me that shows the online activity. I'm going to be compiling any stats from any open houses, making sure I get feedback from any showings on Mondays. And on Tuesdays, you'll get a call from me with a update on your listing, right? So now we've set it up that, hey, seller, on Mondays, you're going to get this report. It's going to show you what's happening online. On the back end of that, I'm taking care of making sure I collect any feedback for showings, following up on these open houses, right? Now we're looking like a stellar agent to our sellers. And then, hey, every Tuesday, you're going to get a call from me with an update on your listing. So they have time to review that information, and then we are going to talk about it on Tuesdays. This sets that expectation that your seller doesn't have to call you to get information. In fact, I would go a step further and say, hey, Tuesdays, I'm going to call you with an update on your listing. What time works best for you, mornings or afternoons? Right? And they're going to be like, oh, the afternoons. Perfect. Does 1 o'clock work better for you or 3 o'clock work better for you? Right? Now I'm going to put that as a reoccurring appointment on my calendar. So every Tuesday at 3 o'clock, they know they can expect a phone call from me to go over what I sent them on Monday, this report, as well as any other feedback that I've received. That's going to give me the opportunity to talk about price adjustments. We're going to talk about the state of the market, whatever that is, so that we've set that expectation. They know they have an appointment. It's not Tuesday morning at 8:30. They call me going, hey, what's the update? We know we have a set appointment to connect on, and we've set that expectation. They're getting stuff from me on a regular basis, keeping them updated of what's going on online. So I like these reports. I think these are good. I think sellers, they're going around and checking this anyways. This is a good way to just let them know that you're on top of it, that you're compiling that information, that you're going to make sure they have the most recent information. Any questions about these ListTrac reports? If you do have reports going out, the next button down on the left-hand side is that seller report history. It'll show you which reports have gone out. Shannon probably doesn't have any. And then it'll also let you know whether it's been delivered, what the status date is. And I believe that you can click on it to see what that report showed. Okay, so that's ListTrac. It's one of those tech tools that if you didn't know what it was, you may not ever actually click on it. But again, it's one of those things that's a really cool tool to have in your arsenal when you have those listings, just to look like that amazing agent, bring value to your sellers, right? When we're sitting at our listing appointments, this is one of those reports that, hey, on a weekly basis, I'm going to send you a report that looks like this. Pull up one of your old seller reports, right? Have it as part of your listing agreement so that they understand are part of your listing, your pre-listing package, so that they know that, hey, not only are you going to hear from me, we'll have a standing appointment every Tuesday to check in, Mondays, you'll get this report, as well as I will track down any agents that have shown your property. I will get feedback from the open houses. And then on Tuesday, when we have our conversation, we'll go over all of that in that pre-listing appointment, because now you've set the expectation that I'm not just going to list your house and you're going to have to track me down and chase me down. I'm going to be following up with you on a regular basis. And here's some examples of what some of those reports are going to look like. Okay, there you go. That's your tech training for today. Tomorrow, we have, let's see here, calendar. Tomorrow, we have marketing with style using the Print Center and Xpress Docs. So we'll dive into our Express, it says Docs, but it should be Express Print. So we'll dive into that tomorrow, explore a little bit more of what options you have through there. And then on Wednesday, we have connect with past clients using your vendor list. We're going to talk about using LiveEasy to manage that vendor list. And then on Thursday, we're going to talk about making sure that you're connecting with your past clients using RPR. Okay. This is a good time of year to do that, either now or January, or you might set it up as an annual event, but we'll talk more about that on Thursday. So that's what we have this week for our tech. It's going to be fun. I'm not trying to keep you guys on forever. I want to cover the tech, answer any questions that you might have, and then we'll send you on for the rest of your day. So I hope you found this valuable. We will see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. You are welcome, Deborah.